All right, let's just jump right in. The whole world of AI right now, it feels like a gold rush, doesn't it? It's exciting, it's moving incredibly fast, and let's be honest, it's pretty chaotic. We're seeing new models, new tools dropping practically every single day. So in this absolute explosion of creativity, how do you go from just being a consumer of AI to actually commanding it? Today, we're going to lay out the blueprint for building your very own personal AI command center.
And this chaos isn't just on the technical side, it's financial too. We're in the middle of this massive surge of investment into AI that, well, it looks a lot like some of the historical bubbles we've seen before. This quote really nails that feeling, that while the potential of AI is absolutely real, the hype around it has created a level of risk that has a lot of people feeling, a little on edge.
But here's what's really different this time around. Back in the dot-com bubble, all that risk was spread out across thousands and thousands of little startups. Today, the investment is super concentrated in just a handful of massive tech companies. What does that mean? It means if one of those giants stumbles, the domino effect could be unbelievably fast and hit everyone. It's a totally different kind of vulnerability.
So you're looking at all this market craziness and the technical chaos, and you're thinking, what's the right move? Well, the answer isn't to run away from it. It's to lean in, but in a different way. It's all about building your own sovereign AI system, something that you control, that you direct, and that you own. So let's shift from talking about the problem to building the solution.
And really, this is the big question for anyone who's serious about this stuff. How do you stop being a passenger on this wild ride and actually get behind the wheel? It's about a mindset shift, right? Moving away from just using a bunch of AI apps to architecting an entire system that works for you on your terms.
So what is this thing we're actually building? We're calling it a sovereign AI orchestrator. The best way to think about it is like an air traffic controller, but for AI. It's a personal system that doesn't just rely on one single model. Instead, it intelligently manages this whole network, this mesh of different AI tools and models. It routes the right task to the perfect tool, and it's all under your command. Now, to build something this powerful, you need a rock-solid foundation, and that foundation is built on these 6 core principles. First up, resource abstraction. This just means we treat any AI model or tool like a simple Lego brick we can plug in and out. Then there's dynamic routing, which is the brain that sends a task to the best model for that specific job. Maybe it's the cheapest one, or the fastest, or the most powerful. Third, agentic specialization. This is about having a team of experts, right? AI agents that are specialists in one thing. Fourth, persistent configuration, which just makes sure the system remembers what it's doing so it can pick up where it left off. Fifth, zero trust integration. This is our security model. We trust nothing by default. And finally, and this one is so important, human governance. It means you always have the final say on the big stuff.
Okay, so we've got the principles down. Now let's get into the actual blueprint. We're going to go from these abstract ideas to the real architecture. And the best analogy for this whole system is a mission control, like a command center for your own personal space program.
Right at the very heart of this mission control is the orchestration layer. This is the brain of the whole operation. When you give it a complex goal, it doesn't just blindly toss it at some random AI. No, first it analyzes what you're really trying to do. Then it looks at its whole roster of available tools and agents and picks the best one. And then it manages the entire workflow from beginning to end.
So how does this brain actually work? Well, it's made up of a few key parts. You've got the intent parser, which figures out what you actually want to accomplish. Then the decision engine is what chooses the best model. And this is cool. It can distinguish between a planning mode that uses a slow, expensive, but really powerful model for deep thinking and a fast mode that uses cheaper, quicker models for execution. The workflow manager then juggles all the steps in the process, and the state manager basically keeps track of everything so the system doesn't get lost.
And this really gets to a huge strategic advantage. The old way, the monolithic approach, is relying on one giant AI model to do everything. It's just not efficient, and it's not flexible. A decoupled agent approach is so much better. It's like having a team of specialists. You've got one for research, one for writing code, one for creative tasks. Your orchestrator is the project manager, just bringing in the right expert at exactly the right time.
Okay, let's get practical. How do you actually start building this thing? This isn't just theory. You can literally start assembling your agent army today with tools that are already out there, and a lot of them are free. You just have to stop thinking of them as standalone apps and start seeing them as recruits for your personal AI team.
First up,
Every team needs a research agent. A tool like Google's Notebook LM is absolutely perfect for this. You can just feed it all your research papers, your PDFs, your personal notes, and it becomes a dedicated expert on your stuff. So when your orchestrator has a question that needs an answer from your own knowledge base, it pings this agent, and you get a response that is grounded in your own context.
Next, you might want your system to have a voice. You can plug in a voice agent using a service like 11 Labs. And this isn't just a gimmick. It gives your system the ability to talk back to you with natural-sounding speech. Imagine getting audio briefings or important notifications from your system. It completely changes the interaction.
And what about creativity? You need a vision agent. A tool like Kling can take a simple text prompt from your orchestrator, maybe a summary that was just generated by another agent, and turn it into a high-quality video clip. All of a sudden, your system can't just think and speak, it can actually create visual content all on its own.
Now this one is absolutely critical, the local agent. For any tasks that involve sensitive data or need total privacy, you do not want to be sending that information to the cloud. By using a tool like Allama, you can run incredibly powerful open-source models right on your own computer. This right here is the cornerstone of a truly sovereign system. It's how you guarantee your data never leaves your control.
Look, building a powerful system like this comes with a huge amount of responsibility. So we have to talk about security, because the real threats, they're not always the obvious ones. We need to go looking for the ghost in the machine.
This quote is so powerful because it's so simple. It highlights a really profound security idea. The hack wasn't some complex virus. It was using a totally legitimate, trusted tool, the Windows subsystem for Linux, in an unexpected way to get around all the security. It's a stark reminder that the real threat isn't always what you're looking for.
And that's because real security has to be in layers. It's not enough to just secure your own application code. Vulnerabilities can be hiding deep, deep down in the technology stack, in the operating system, in the virtualization layer, and even in the firmware of your hardware. I'm talking about things like the Intel Management Engine, which is basically a secret tiny computer on your chip that has full network access and literally never turns off. That's the level of threat you have to start thinking about.
So how do you protect your command center? You build security in from day one using these principles. First, adopt a zero-trust policy. That means nothing is trusted by default. Second, require a human, you, to approve any big actions like deleting files or spending money. Third, keep a detailed, auditable log of everything the system does. And fourth, have a plan to roll back any changes if something goes wrong.
So we've talked about the chaos, the blueprint, the tools, and the security. But building that secure foundation, it's not just about playing defense. It's the very thing that gives you the confidence to aim higher, to build bigger. It's what lets you truly direct your own future.
This quote from the source material just perfectly sums up this entire shift in thinking. In the past, if you had a brilliant idea for an app but you couldn't code, well, the idea died. With an orchestrated AI system, you provide the vision. You provide the intent and the direction. The machine and its team of agents, they handle the execution.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The future isn't about a race to find one single, all-powerful master AI. The real power, the real future, lies in becoming a skillful orchestrator. Someone who can weave together a whole mesh of specialized, best-in-class agents to create a system that is so much greater than the sum of its parts.
Look, the tools are out there. The architectural patterns are getting clearer every single day. So the only question left is a personal one. What will you build? What complex problems are you going to solve? What will you orchestrate?